clear to me, and even more clear now than ever, that we as a nation are suffering from division, which is good for the government, because the more we are divided with each other, the more power they have. But the problem is, race relations are a real issue. They still are, and they have been, as long as this country has been around. It's not gone. It's not dead. Civil Rights Act of 64 is only 50 years old. And that's what ended Jim Crow on paper. It didn't end racism. It still exists. Are things better now? Yes, of course they are. But segregation was better than slavery. That didn't mean that that's all we have to settle for. Things are still not equal. And you see people from all walks of life finally standing up and saying, things need to change, things need to change. Well, they do. So yes, I partook in that protest in downtown Tampa. And a lot of people didn't like that. They wanted us to stand on the sidewalk and hold signs and chant, which is what we did at first. But how much attention and awareness would that have brought? Not much. So yes, we blocked traffic. We didn't stay in one area for an extensive period of time, but long enough to get noticed and to get people talking. And they may have been angry because they had places to go. I'm sorry. Plenty of things stop traffic. Just one more thing in life. It's an inconvenience, a relatively minor inconvenience. Then yes, we went to this Christmas tree lighting and we protested there in this event. People were angry because they had brought their children there to this free event to watch a Christmas tree lighting. They were so angry their event was interrupted. First of all, it just went on an intermission. It didn't end it. We were there for a matter of 15 minutes, but it got the message across. If we're not disruptive, then there is no way to get the message across. If we're just standing on the sidelines, people will just go on about their business. You have to get in their way. You have to show them that, hey, this is a problem. And you have to do it in a way that inconveniences them. Because right now, it's not a matter to them. They're silent. They're neutral. They don't care. So they have no interest. Unless you get in their way. Then they want you to stop. So it doesn't mean they'll care about your cause, but they'll work with you because they just want you to stop. It's sad but true. Sometimes that's what you have to do. And our state government needs to start reacting and realize, hey, there's a problem here. There's animosity between the Florida citizens and Florida law enforcement and the government. And this is also nationwide, but I'm speaking more locally. We have a fear of our law enforcement, not just blacks. Everybody has this fear. I've heard it from so many different types of people. I've been talking to disrespectfully by police officers when I wasn't doing wrong. I got spoken to disrespectfully by the sheriff's office for trying to report a crime that they said I couldn't report, which was fine, but it was the way I was being spoken to. A lot of times when I deal with the state or the county, I'm treated with disrespect. I've written or called out to politicians who's never responded. Certainly I understand they're busy, but come on. We have no trust in our government. Our government is run by corruption, and our police force is no different. This doesn't mean I think every police officer is bad. I respect the police officers that go out there, they put their lives on the line, and they do the right thing. But the ones who do the wrong things need to be held accountable, and it needs to be taken more seriously across the nation. It's troubling that we don't have raw data on statistics about lethal shootings by law enforcement. This is an area where the federal government does need to intervene and say, hey, there needs to be a standardized format. When lethal force is used, if a person in the custody of the police or at the hands of law enforcement is killed, there needs to be reporting data saying, hey, this is what happened. And an investigation needs to be put on by a third party, not their own internal investigators or their states and cities' own prosecutors, who are likely in cohorts because they're all funded by the same source. Why would they want to put away one of their own? This is their buddies. There's too much politics there. There needs to be a third-party investigator saying, hey, there was a lethal action here. We're going to investigate it and look for wrongdoing. Sure, they can still have their internal investigation, but it shouldn't be the end-all be-all. When it comes to that, it's got to be unbiased. It's just like a college campus. When you hear these claims, these horrible claims of young women being raped by football stars, and the school conducts an internal investigation. What good does that do? That football star is an asset to you, whereas that female student probably doesn't matter to you. So you're not going to be unbiased. It doesn't work. You need a third-party investigator who's impartial. And not someone you pay for, because then it's not impartial, because they become a customer. There just has to be a standardized system. A way that you cannot just investigate yourself and call it a day. There needs to be accountability. When it comes to law enforcement, there just needs to be a level of civility between citizens, yes, including those who are committing crimes, and the law enforcement. Yes, there are times where law enforcement has to get rough, but lethal force should be the last resort only. This shoot-to-kill mentality doesn't make sense. You can shoot to maim, shoot to disable. You should only kill if you have to. These are human lives we're talking about. And technically, during their interaction with law enforcement, they aren't criminals yet, even if they've committed a crime, because they haven't been convicted by a jury. So they can't be guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. Law enforcement doesn't have the ability to say you're guilty. We don't want to live in that kind of society. So the message we were trying to send in the downtown protests that blocked traffic and that interrupted a show, not ruined because it did continue, and there was no violence, so they can't compare us to Ferguson. The point of that was to bring the attention to the citizens and the government that something needs to be done. Because writing to them doesn't work, calling to them doesn't work. So we need to demonstrate and show, hey, we're tired of this. Not just black citizens, not just Latino citizens, not just people who have been convicted of crimes, because I haven't. Everybody. We want to feel that our police force is truly there to protect us and respect us. This doesn't mean don't hold us accountable when we commit crimes. But the corruption needs to go, the money needs to go, the bedfellows with the top corporations needs to go. Attorney General Pam Bondi is now on a council for a group that the Republican Attorney General whatever group that sponsored her campaign. I mean, it's all, where is the money? Where is the money? Why isn't she focusing on the animosity between her citizens and the law enforcement? That's an area where you think she'd be focused. Instead, she's worried about Chesapeake Bay or gay marriage, which she's losing her cause, or keeping marijuana illegal, even though the majority of the voters voted in favor. We continue to deal with these problems because our government is so disconnected from us, or they just flat out don't care. It's a power structure. So yes, we're going to demonstrate in the streets, and we're going to have to disrupt events that inconvenience citizens. But guess what? The inconvenience you faced while you were at that Christmas show is nowhere near the amount of inconvenience that we face every day by a government that taxes us and uses us. Regardless of whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, the majority of the people I hear talking say government doesn't do anything for us, they're incompetent, they don't care, this and that. So why aren't you doing anything? Why are you getting mad when you're inconvenienced that traffic is blocked, or demonstrators are out there chanting, or they got in the way of your show for a few moments to make a scene, to make a message come across? Why are you getting so mad about that instead of getting mad about the injustices that you face? Why are you being a silent, compliant party? Everyone should speak up. Not just at the ballot box. Yes, more people need to go out and vote. I don't doubt that. But you can't just rely on voting. The voting system is not strong enough. You need to be speaking all around. And organizing and peaceful protesting with some civil disruption and civil disobedience is the way to go. It can't just be in the sidelines in the background where it's convenient. That doesn't get a message across. So someone asked me if I felt bad for interrupting that Christmas show, which was free, I'll say again. No, I don't feel bad, because A, it didn't cancel it. It just delayed it for about 15 minutes. And B, it got the message across. It made the conversation go. Even if people may be angry at us, they know that we're angry too, and we're going to do something. Things are going to be done, even if it takes years. Our government now needs to take a stance and fix this broken relationship between the people and the government. It needs to be fixed. And the animosity between law enforcement and the people. So many people, Republicans and Democrats, talk about police state, police military action, police abuse of power, loss of rights. So do something about it. Don't get mad at protesters just because you don't agree that Michael Brown was innocent. It's not about whether Michael Brown was innocent. It was about an 18-year-old was killed, and it's happening across the nation, And it is happening with whites and black and Hispanic, and it keeps happening. And when these people are killed, they're investigated by their own internal sources and their own internal prosecutors who are buddy-buddy. We all know that's how politics works. It's all corrupt. We wouldn't ask the First Lady to investigate the president. It just wouldn't work. We just have to stop submitting to it and start taking action in some way or another. And I'm not saying I know all the answers or that there is a perfect system, but I do know that the system we're in now is oppressive to everybody. We pay tons of taxes while corporate loopholes and wealthy loopholes exist. And we're carrying the pitchfork at each other. That protest downtown was not to anger the fellow citizens, even though that's maybe what it did. It was designed to draw attention to the cause to the people of this city that are watching, the Tampa government, so that way they can start working with the Hillsborough County and Tampa police to work on whatever animosities there may be. It's their jobs to figure this out. They're the professionals. So yes, it got people mad, maybe mad enough that they'll go and talk to their government officials about the disruption. And that will just give the government officials more of a need to act. So I'm sorry if it made fellow citizens upset, uncomfortable, or mad, but I think it served its purpose. It was an important message, and I wouldn't change anything about it. And I hope that more people speak up and organize and get the message across that there needs to be a better understanding. It's we the people. Government works for us. We don't work for them. They serve us. We don't serve them. And that's the way it needs to be. And that's not the way it is. And that's my thought on that.